here with Ray Proctor, the gentleman who voices Griffin, the swordsman and leader of the People's Resistance of Ravenel. How's it going, Ray?
It's going well. How about with you, Craig?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad.
Got it.
So, you're an actor, yes?
I am an actor. So, I've been an actor for a really long time, and musicals pay the rent, and Shakespeare is what I love to do.
And so you've played Othello 3 times, right?
I've played Othello 4 times.
4 times?
Yeah, we don't talk about that 4th one.
Okay, we'll skip the 4th one.
I was in St. Louis. I was very young.
That was actually, by the way, what made me decide you would be really good for the part of Griffin, actually, was the fact that you'd played Othello, because I really wanted someone who could play a very dignified, black man, essentially.
Morgan Freeman is usually the choice for this.
Yeah, he's a little out of my budget.
I understand.
So, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you did when you were preparing for the role of Griffin?
Well, it started actually when you said, in our first interview, when I said, tell me about Griffin. And you told me some stuff, but the thing that was most informative was showing me a picture of the character. I can have whatever ideas I want about how the character is developed, how the character's built, what the character's like, but it wasn't until I saw the expression on his face, the arch of his eyebrow, that I realized that he had a sense of humor, that he was funny, that he was the fighter, but not because he was mean or gruff. Like, he wasn't like Bruce, what's his name? Die Hard guy? Bruce.
Oh, Bruce Willis.
Yeah, he's not Bruce Willis mean. He's not Jason Statham. He's far more funny. He's got a sort of a sense of humor to him. There's a laughter to the character. So he's got a lot of things that happen to him in his life. However, he manages to still have a wry humor about the whole thing.
Now, why don't you talk a little bit about some of those things that have happened to him in his life?
Griffin finds out, or Griffin discovers that he has the gift, that he has also got the gift, and his parents his parents send him away to become a soldier after they find out that he's got a gift, and it's like a family secret. And his family's, his parents are senators, so he comes from a well-to-do family. He comes from a family of means. He comes from a family of the upper crust. So having a son who has this thing that's wrong with him makes it something shameful. So it's kind of a journey for the character. He's got to learn that it's not shameful to be who you are and to have this gift. So that's the approach that I took to Griffin.
And were you able to draw on anything from real life in that?
No, nothing. Yeah, actually. We all go through life, and we have a facade that we put on, and we pretend for the rest of the world. We go out and we have a way that we present how we are to the world, but it oftentimes doesn't actually have anything to do with who we are, the private things, the things that we hide, that maybe we learned to be ashamed of about ourselves. In my life, it's okay, so being gay. In my life, it's always been one of those things. It's not necessarily shameful. I'm old now. I'm old and ancient, and I don't care at all. But it's always made me different. Not even different from, it's not even that I'm different from, the world is constructed for heterosexual people. We watch it on television, we watch it on movies, we watch it everywhere. And you learn through acculturation that if you think someone is cute, and it happens to be a guy, that you're not supposed to ask them out. So you learn to hide it, if you will. You learn that there are places that things aren't acceptable. You learn shame, actually, after a while. And so that, I think, is what Griffin goes through. but he's a soldier, and he also happens to be a very good soldier. So, like with Othello, Othello is the best soldier, so he becomes the general. It doesn't matter that he's black. The Venetians actually need him. Whether they want him or not, they need him to win the war. The same with Griffin. Griffin happens to be an excellent soldier, and people don't. So he's got the gift as well, and he's hiding the gift. So he's applauded for being an excellent soldier, and after a while he gets tired of hiding. So I think the gift becomes allegorical for anything in your life that you have learned is abnormal, that you have learned is deviant. But it's things that sometimes in society you realize that you can hide, and you don't have to make it public. The easy go-to one, of course, is sexual orientation. But there are other things. People hide all kinds of things, like their deviances, if you will, their sexual deviances. Not mine, but I have friends. You know, there are all kinds of things that people like, and they've learned to not be proud of it. So I think the gift becomes allegorical for anything in your life that you have learned is abnormal, that you have learned is deviant.
So how do you see Griffin's role as the leader of the resistance and essentially as the face of the gift in Ravenel?
It's strange, even as we were doing it, I didn't get that he was the leader of the resistance. I know he is. I've read it, I did the whole part, and I went, but I don't think Griffin sees himself as a leader. I think Griffin finds himself in a situation where he's doing what has to be done. I think he finds himself not doing it for the power of leadership. He's not doing it for his own personal glory. I think he sees his people and the world he lives in and his society that has been taken over by a dictatorship. And he leads the resistance, or he is a part of the resistance for ideals of freedom. And I don't think he thinks of himself as a leader. He's a de facto. Is that the right word? Mm-hmm. He's the leader. He's the de facto leader. But I don't know that anyone's told Griffin that he's the leader yet. I think everybody else. I think he finds himself negotiating with all of the other people to do what they need to do, and he doesn't see himself necessarily as the leader. I don't think people turn to him and go, "Lead us." I think he is in fact the leader, but I don't think he knows. I think there's one moment. There's one point I'm really loud on the thing when he screams, "That is enough," and it ends with something for Ravenel, and he's not being the leader. He's angry. He's being emotionally driven, and I think it's weird now that I think back on it. People are following him because he has become I don't mean righteousness in the scary righteousness way, but he's right. He's right in the way of freedom and in the way of, yeah, I've so been raised in America. He's so right in fighting oppression. He is so right in a lot of ways. And he tolerates things. I don't necessarily know that he likes, like Naj and his wife. I don't know that he necessarily likes them. I don't know that he likes I don't think he likes anybody except for Duvalier. Duvalier. He does. I don't know that he actually likes anybody except for Duvalier. Duvalier is. It's very fraternal. It's very much brotherly. Like he cares for him like a little brother. Absolutely. The other people, I think. He doesn't have as much of a familial bond with them. He respects them. He respects what they do. He cares about them. But I think you only get the familial bond with Duvalier.
So That's an interesting observation. How then do you see Griffin's relationship with the player, who is, for all intents and purposes, Duvalier in the game?
I think he is there to protect Duvalier. I think he is there to goad, push Duvalier into doing things. And I think there has to be a bond between Griffin and Duvalier, because the player has to care about Griffin, and he has to understand that Griffin loves him or her back. I think that is the role of Griffin. That has to be the bond that gets created between the player and Griffin, or the player gets to give up on the resistance. And I don't think the player should be in a position where they're just allowed to give up and go, yeah, I don't care. Rahel is the one that I was thinking of who dies. She dies, and I discovered she dies, and then we have to voice tracks for her dying and then not dying.
Yeah, like she doesn't necessarily die, but she can die.
But she can die.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's all these branches, right, where like various things can happen or not happen. And Rahel technically is more senior in the Resistance than Griffin.
Right.
So if Griffin gets killed, she sort of steps into the role.
Really? I didn't read that.
Yeah. So that's why there's all these like bifurcated moments during the cutscenes where it's like, if Rahel's dead, if Griffin's dead, you know, it just sort of goes back and forth.
I'm very curious to see what happens when Griffin dies. Mostly because I have no idea what she says.
A lot of scolding.
Got it.
She doesn't really believe in Duvalier at first. And if the player actually lets people die, then she will let him have it. What do you think of Griffin's relationship with Rahel?
I think Griffin thinks of Rahel as she's very good. She knows what she's doing, but she's rigid. She's rigid in ways that Griffin is not. She's not flexible. The reason that people don't follow Rahel is because she lacks flexibility. She doesn't negotiate. It's her way or no way. And I think Griffin oftentimes stands as the mediator between Rahel and Duvalier and the other players, or the other characters in the game. Because I think he's the only one who can stand up to her.
Do you see that happening a lot? Like Griffin has to stand up to Rahel?
No, she's got to function. She's absolutely got to function. Sometimes you need that rigidity. I can't even say this word. You need that backbone. You need that solidity to do some things. And Griffin has the ability to do that, but he has to be pushed into that position. He would sooner negotiate and lead through diplomacy. Rahel would lead through, do it my way now.
What do you think about Griffin's relationship with his parents?
Griffin's is sad. Griffin is very sad. I think his parents, his mom and dad, his mother in particular, probably looked at him with shame in her eyes. He was probably a disappointment. Not because of anything he'd done, but I think they looked at him with shame in their eyes, and he was, and it broke his heart. And so he doesn't want to talk about his parents ever, because he doesn't have the words to say, to tell anyone how much they hurt him. I don't think that Griffin. I don't think Griffin has the capacity to deal with how badly being abandoned felt. And they abandon him. They emotionally abandon him. I don't think he has to say to anyone, you're my parents. You were supposed to love me. Regardless of the gift, regardless of anything else, you were supposed to love me. And instead, I'm less than something because of something I had no control over. I was born this way. And for that, his parents, whereas he may have at one point in time placed his parents on a pedestal. At that point, he goes, you're broken. He realizes, and I don't think it's broken in the sense that he feels sorrow for his parents. I think he's angry, and I think he has every right to be angry. I think his relationship is very much like that of a little boy who realizes his parents aren't just people, but his parents are bad people. Griffin's soul is right. Griffin's soul is righteous. His character through line is that he is doing this for what is good and what is just and what is right. He's the hero. He doesn't get to make choices about good and bad. He knows what good is, and he just gets to do that. I don't think there's a moment in the game when Griffin can choose to do something evil or selfish or wrong. He's your hero. That's part of his character. So, I don't think he's never going to fall. The character's not going to fall the way his parent. He doesn't have that tragic flaw. And I hate using that word because I know how wrong it is. But he doesn't have that flaw of character that his parents have. I don't necessarily believe that you've built a flaw of character into this character. You built a hero.